the 15th of February. Hope you had a nice Valentine's Day. That was yesterday. And today is Monday. There's nothing we can do about that. This is Wayne Goldsboro Television. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Pat Garner.
Pat, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Kate's on assignment.
Again.
Again. Yeah, that's okay. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. Well, we have a great week lined up for you this week, and you might notice, and you probably have by now, that we're not in our usual set. Well, you know, we tried Paris, Athens, and Rome. Paris, Texas, Athens, Georgia, and Rome, New York. Neither place worked. So we came back to Goldsboro, and that works just fine.
To the library. To the library.
Did we go to the library?
Yeah.
We're in the library. That's good. Not really, but it'll work. Anyway, here we are, and I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend and that everybody's happy after their Valentine's Day, right?
Yes.
All right. So, Pat, well, you have papers here. What are we reading about? Tell me what's going on.
Well, you know that the county has been building a new detention center.
I do know that.
And it should be ready by the end of this year.
Good.
And so they are looking for detention center officers, and they can apply at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
There are possibly 50 positions.
Whoa.
For the detention center officers.
So that's great. And I'm sure there's certain requirements that
yes, you have to have at least a high school diploma, valid driver's license, North Carolina driver's license, a U.S. citizenship, and you must be at least 21 years of age.
Okay. Apply at the sheriff's office, which is on Chestnut Street, downtown Goldsboro, adjacent to the courthouse. Easy to find. Easy to find. Wow, that's exciting about that. You know, that new detention center is really going to be nice. And in the long run, because it's been mentioned several times how much that place is costing to build, but in the long run, it will not take us long to regain our money that we used to build that facility, because here's what happened. The current jail that we've had for many years is actually overcrowded. We have more offenders than we have jail space. So what happens then is we have an agreement with other surrounding counties to use their jails to put our offenders in. Well, that's all well and good, but we pay a fortune for that. We pay these counties for each inmate that we send to them to hold. And that adds up to a lot of money each month. And over a period of a year, a tremendous amount of money. So in a matter of a few years, we will be able to gain that money back, and then we will be able to charge other counties to hold their inmates and prisoners. There you go.
That's right.
So that's a win-win right there. And tell you what, our county folks and the contractor out there are doing a fantastic job in putting that facility together.
It is. It's coming along real good.
Coming up after the break, I don't have my trivia question just yet, but I'll have it right after the break, okay? The Partnership for Children, pfcw.org, planning their 13th annual Wayne County Child Care Conference. That's coming up in collaboration with Wayne Community College. The event is all set to be held Saturday the 27th, which is a week from this Saturday, at Wayne Community College. Now, the theme for this year's conference is Mission Possible. Tanya Dennis will be the featured keynote speaker. Ms. Dennis is an early childhood consultant and has many years of experience working with early childhood professions. Her experience range in facilitating workshops, child and classroom assessments, writing policies and procedures, workplace medication, and classroom coaching. Anyway, stop. Child care professionals will be provided with over 30 various workshops that will allow them to expand their knowledge and education of the early childhood profession. Now, the cost is $30, not $300, but only $30 is the cost. Lunch will be provided. So if you've got a $29 lunch, the whole thing's only cost you $1.
Sure.
See how that works? Okay. That's probably not true either. But anyway, if you want more information, call Valerie. Valerie Wallace is at the partnership, and her number is 735-3371, 735-3371, extension 231. Okay? Okay, today is the 15th of February. A couple of things to note. We are just a month and a week ahead of spring. That's good news. We are a day beyond Valentine's Day. We're the middle of February already, moving toward, and it's just moving along very quickly, okay? And we are, let's see, April, May, 2 months away from tax day. Whee! Isn't that exciting? Woo!
For some people.
For some people, maybe. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's the 15th, right? What's today? Today is National Gumdrop Day. Don't drop your gum. Of course, that's not what it means. National Gumdrop Day. You like gumdrops?
Yeah.
Today is also President's Day. And you'll notice that we're here today. It's a federal holiday, but it's not a state holiday, nor is it a local holiday. But it is a federal holiday, so your mail will not run today. That's important to note. It is also Singles Awareness Day. So be aware of singles. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. I'll tell you what, let's do this. We're going to go to our interview, and we'll be back after our interview. We're very honored to have in the studio with us this morning a couple of folks from the library and from the advisory board of the library. Shirley Edwards is with us. How are you?
I am just great.
I'm so glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
And making a return visit, Mr. Marty Tschetter.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Marty. It's good to see you as always.
Yeah. Thanks for
Marty's
the
the
opportunity.
historian at the library, and Shirley, you're on the advisory board.
I am.
And we're here to talk about February being National Black History
Black
Month.
History Month.
And there's so many things going on during this month. And who wants to start? Where do we want to start, Marty?
I want to let Marty lead off.
There you go. Lead off, Marty. You're the.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're going to do some neat programs. We have three programs coming up at the library, and we'll have some lobby exhibits. We'll have those done this week. They'll be up to complement what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I guess starting out this Saturday, February 13th, will be Geraldine Lee is going to do a program she's done on blacks in the Civil War.
Okay.
To kind of complement that, we're doing some. I've done a little bit of research. We came across in March of 1865. People know that the Goldsboro was heavily occupied, 80,000, 100,000 Union federal troops.
Now, just imagine that. 100,000 military right here in Goldsboro. 100,000. The whole city is only 35,000 in population, roughly. The whole county is about 125 or 30,000 people.
But we know they spilled out. Once they got into Goldsboro, they spilled out into the county and
Yeah.
all over it.
And that was a lot of people. We were a major city
Yeah,
at that time.
and apparently it was only for a few weeks. And you're right, absolutely. It's pretty mind-boggling to have that many people. But that's what historians, I guess, statistically say was about, in that time frame. But what's interesting is in March of 1865, the 135th U.S. colored troops came out of Goldsboro. So this had to be the last federally, these are Union black troops that were formulated. And we have a roster that I came across. I've been in correspondence with the person who put it together out of Washington, D.C. And so we have a list of 15 out of these 200 or so troops that had Goldsboro-Wayne County ties.
Oh.
Which is pretty.
So they were from here?
Yes,
They're from here,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
And this unit was only around for about 6 months. So they started here. They go to Washington, D.C., and then they end up 6 months later and muster out in Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, this is the end of the war.
Yeah,
This is
exactly. It's right at the end of the war. I mean, there had to be a reason they started the unit, so some of that stuff would be fun to hopefully kind of dig through and try to sort through. It didn't just happen, but there were a lot of people. The war was ending. People were tired of it, ready to go home. I mean, maybe this kind of augmented that. But regardless, we have a list of these names, and I want to find out. We want to try and track down descendants of the members because there's a really good shot that most people have no idea.
And how many were there?
There are 15 that were from Wayne County.
And these were young men in their 20s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Farmers and laborers.
Right.
And,
Well, give us a couple of examples of the names. Do you have the names?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I got a roster here that.
Okay.
we had Cogdales, we had
Okay.
Flowers,
Right.
Marty, Ford, Lewis. Go ahead.
Yeah, now Philip Ford. I found out yesterday that there was someone who came in that we had a very great conversation. She said she was familiar with his name and thought that he got active in politics later on. So there's a guy named Needham Lewis, Connigan, Page, Sherrard. Now the Sherrard family, what's interesting is I've been in touch with some of those descendants, and they actually they know of him. They have a photograph of him.
Really?
He became a carpenter, and his house still exists, and the family descendants are saving the house, I guess.
Is that right?
And it's in the Stantonsburg. It's kind of the northern part of the county.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the right on the line, but it's a Wayne County family, and I think it's really powerful. So we want to find some descendants who probably don't know, find out more about what these guys did in life. You know, what they did, and then, you know, and what life experiences, that type thing. And then I have a couple, Amy and Jay Bauer, who are helping me research the genealogy to help me kind of find descendants, that kind of thing, and that'll help us connect with people too. But they've actually gone to the extent they've gone to the National Archives to start looking for pension records, which is pretty enlightening in finding out more stuff. And then they've also sought out some of these grave markers. So several of these guys, you know, they found the markers, but there's no acknowledgement. And so I think a really fantastic community project in the future, once we get more information, piece it together, is, you know, to acknowledge their markers. I mean, that's pretty neat. They were federal Union troops, came out of Wayne County.
Right.
And as he said, I think that as we go along in this project and find more descendants or people who know something about these descendants, I think the only proper thing that we can do is to get a movement going and mark those graves properly.
I agree. They should be marked accordingly. So, are they all centrally located, or are they just kind of spread out all over the place?
Yeah, that's a good question. They're all over the place. Yeah, the couple, Amy and Jay, they found the few that they have found. They were in old family cemeteries and weren't taken care of well, and you know, it's just that, you know, a lot of these guys. I mean, it's only 100 years ago, close to it, and so. Yeah. You know, this family's change, and some of these families might not even know where these markers are. So a lot of really positive things could come out of it.
Yeah. You know, here a few years ago, I was talking with some people who had attempted to restore some of the older cemeteries in the county because of the military connections to many of these cemeteries. I'm not sure they're still able to do that, but or I'm not sure what kind of support they got. But it would be nice to be able to revitalize something like that, you know, and get that going again.
Well, and it'd be phenomenal if, I mean, some of these guys I think died in the early teens, 20s.
Wow.
And you know, there could easily be family photographs. So it takes some piecing together. Every family has pictures of people they don't know who they are. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm pretty excited. I think that there's some neat things come out of it.
Because one of the unique things, and it could be unique or different, is that one of them has the name Needham Lewis, and there's someone in Goldsboro that had the name Needham Lewis, and you know, we wonder, is that a descendant? That's why we're so excited about having our workshop, so that maybe some of these descendants will come forth, or as I say, know about them, because we know that we still have those names here, the Forts, the Lewises, you know, and they're strong names. The Smiths, there's one named Thomas Smith. And there is a person named Thomas Smith. We wonder, could the family member have carried that name on? You just wonder those things.
Be nice to think that, but that's not an uncommon name.
It isn't,
of course. But
we'll dig it through and see. We're actually we're sending out a mailing to churches and area community people that express interest in some genealogy for African Americans. So we'll see. Get the conversation started. Geraldine's program that happens to be this Saturday. Is kind of this kind of complements that. She's not talking specifically about this, but it definitely is part of the conversation. She's interested in it. She just doesn't know as much about it. So they're kind of segue together. And then we have the very end of the month, February 29th, Monday, we have it's an evening. A woman, Diane Richard, she's a professional genealogist, and she has done a lot with African American genealogy. I'm pretty excited. She's going to talk about some different types of records that exist. I mean, it's easy to, a really great place to start for genealogy is the census, and people are familiar with Ancestry.com, which the library offers that free through people from home, from site Ancestry.com. But also, she actually had, and I started digging through some microfilm we have. She's going to talk about cohabitation bonds, which were for blacks. dating to 1866. They list names, which is pretty remarkable in that era. Bills of sale, tax records, wills, probate, estate records. She's going to explain all this. Court records, there's Confederate and Union pension records, the Freedmen's Bureau. They had a field office in Goldsboro. We have the library has the microfilm from those field records, which is pretty phenomenal stuff.
And this, okay, the library will have many of these artifacts and items on display.
Yeah, correct. What Diane, the genealogist, at the end of the month is going to talk about, we're going to have items up on display that convey that. So I mean, there's some really neat stuff that, like there's documents to the 1700s.
Wow.
There's a document from 1800 I have that is, I mean, it's pretty remarkable. A gentleman named Simon Peacock petitions for, is listed as his Negro Cato to liberate them. That's 1800.
Wow.
And that, you know, that's all on a microfilm reel that's never been indexed. People probably don't know it exists. Maybe a neat byproduct would be, if people get excited, is to go through, you know, we could print out the sheets and then someone could go in and index the names.
So Shirley, the workshop this weekend at Saturday at the library, the 13th?
The date is the...
Yeah, sorry, February 13th. This Saturday happens to be Geraldine Lee's.
That's Geraldine's.
That's
Remember
Geraldine's program.
We talked about that.
Okay.
She does that with the soldiers, the black soldiers that were in the Civil War.
I've seen that program. She does a great job.
That's our lead-off program. But now our displays will be up this week, and anyone reading those displays can, as Marty said, the genealogy room, the history room of the library is available to everyone all the time, and there is just volumes of information in there about Wayne County citizens and things that have gone on, not only during Black History Month, but there's things that is just prevalent to people. I mean, your old records of as it relates to Black history, the free persons of color that I was sharing with you about in Wayne County, and the record of the slaves in Wayne County, and the old newspaper records and things like that. And of course, Marty has done a lot on the other blacks of note in Wayne County. He did an exhibit that brought in Mr. what's his name?
George Altman.
George Altman. And Wayne County has such a rich history. That is what is amazing. Me not being from Wayne County, I know Sampson County's history, but Wayne County has a rich history that the average person in Wayne County has just not tapped into. And I'd love to see local peoples get involved in this, because what happens, some people say, well, why is the need to keep having Black History Week, you know? But our young people, white or black, do not know history, period. It is a subject that young people, in talking with some over the weekend, just don't feel that history is a subject they're interested in. They do not understand the relevancy of that history is who you are, where you came from, whether it's Black history, Hispanic history, white history. History, period, is exciting because it tells you where you came from. Because if you do have no idea where you came from, when you get where you're going, there's a void. And so history fills that void. And as I was telling some young men and women over the weekend, when you have your history, everything else falls in place. The how, the why, or the when is in that history. And that's why it's so important. And for young African Americans, I have found that, and older ones, the thing that turns them off when we talk about history is that they begin to think that for us, our history in America is slavery. And they find a little bit of shame in that. But there really is no shame in that, because you did nothing to be ashamed of. You didn't enslave yourself. And people have been enslaved since the world began. It didn't start with African Americans. It started with all races. All races have had that within the races. I mean, there's always a lower group of people, there's a middle group, and then there's those at the top. I mean, the whole American system, the whole world system is set up on that. So because of that shame of slavery, many times African Americans sort of don't want to talk about black history. They like to talk about our African ancestry, but they're very comfortable talking about the American ancestry because, again, they believe it points to slavery. But there's so much more in our history that does not point to slavery. It points to, many people don't know the number of free persons. You know, there were free persons, and just like there was indentured servants that came out of England that were white and black, they earned their freedom and they became free persons. And we Southerners have the stigma that slavery is a Southern phenomena, that it is a Southern thing, that we Southerners created it, but that's not true. The early slave people came out of, many in New York came out of the Dutch colonies. They actually came into New York on the islands, and we know now that they had slavery in the northern states before it trickled down to the southern states. But so you find those things as you read history, and that the people that brought it into the New York and the Long Islands were actually the Quakers from the Dutch colonies. So it's just, there's just so much that will clarify things and make you feel better about yourself and give you knowledge of who you are. I find history exciting, but
boy,
then I
I'll
love
tell you
history.
what, I'm gonna go over here and sit down, and you just take it. You did what? That was wonderful.
Well,
Wow.
And to compliment what Shirley just said, there's a woman, Lisa Henderson,
Yeah.
who she has we had some really great conversation yesterday, and this will be developing. We'll have her work with us some more on some things. But she was telling me in the Dudley area, and then the northern part of the county, Eureka area, where a lot of her family were free people of color, which is really phenomenal. She did a whole master's thesis using Wayne County apprentice bonds and stuff, kind of studying and analyzing them, how they were. This gets complicated. I don't understand this stuff, but it'll be neat to learn more about it. But there were free people of color in Wayne County married to slaves. And,
wow.
But we know that was all over. In all of the states, they were free people that married slaves, and then there were slaves, vice versa, whatever you just call it, that married slaves. Because there were relationships between people, and they were free people who married slaves and then got tricked and found out that they called themselves buying their slave, and then the slave master reneged on the deal, and they didn't get them. So it's about like the story in the Old Testament with what happened to Jacob. They sort of got tricked, and they didn't get a free slave person, and the slave owner kept the person. So, but there's just so much, that is interesting out there. But the old saying that history does repeat itself.
Oh, it does.
Because if you look at mankind, what we are still doing as human beings, we've done it since the creation. You can tie it into biblical history. I shared the young people, as I was talking with them, I said, there was slavery in Egypt with the Israelites, but look at what a strong nation they are now, the Jewish nation.
Yeah.
So there was slavery in the African American, and we came from a very strong history. There was a period where the history wasn't as strong, but yet you look at the adversity and where you came from. So there's so much to be proud of. I don't want anybody to be ashamed of their history, and yet there is that stigma attached to it.
And that's too bad. That's
is.
a shame. Now that's shameful.
And
But
that's
there's a
why I
stigma.
think we have to keep having, when people ask the question, why do we keep with black history? I think until people can be comfortable with who they are, whether it's Hispanic history, black history, or white history. The many whites are ashamed of this period of slavery. They don't want to talk about it because they don't want anybody to believe they had anything to do with it. Well, that was a condition of the time. So we are all conditions of the time we live in. And the shame is when you don't want to do better. As long as you're moving forward to do better, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
We are unfortunately out of time. So Marty, any final words you want to add to this?
Well, Yeah, quickly, we have the, in the end of February, have, we have Diane Richard, the professional genealogist.
Right.
And then mid-March, we have Dr. Reginald Hildebrand. He's
Right.
an African-American scholar from University of North Carolina. He's coming.
Right.
And that should be, his presentations, he does a lot of research on emancipation and Reconstruction. And I've heard he's a really fantastic speaker, so he's coming to.
Oh, that's great.
If I can say anything,
Go
I would
ahead.
ask the citizens of Wayne County, not only African Americans, but all, to join in this effort. Help us look at our history. Help us move forward. It improves the relationships between the people. So let's come together and look at these historical things and begin a dialogue. Talk about that period. Get it out of the corner into the main part of the room, and let's talk about it. We have nothing to be ashamed of. It was something that happened in a period and a time. We're bigger than that. So let's not put this shame on our children and they continue to live with it. Let us know that it happened. No, I didn't create it. I wasn't a part of it, as a white person may say. But it did happen. And what do we do that it don't happen again?
You can't change history.
That's right.
It happened. It happened. And thank you so much for bringing all this to our program today. And Marty, I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the library, 735-1824.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's it. Good.
Okay. I just made it up. Okay. Shirley, thank you so much for everything. I appreciate it. You did a wonderful job. And we've been speaking with Marty Tschetter, historian at the Wayne County Public Library, and Shirley Edwards, my friend. And we are back on Wayne Goldsboro Television. And what do you have there, ma'am?
We have the Hymn Festival that's coming up at
Okay.
the University of Mount Olive.
That's going to be great.
And it's free.
Free.
Free. It's
Is it free?
Thursday, February
Free.
the 18th.
Free.
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 It starts at 7:30 in the Hazel Waters Carnegie Assembly Hall.
Okay. All right. Do you like the traditional hymns, or you like the contemporary, newer ones, or a mixture of both?
A mixture.
Yeah, I think I do too. But some of the newer ones are really good.
Oh, yeah.
You know, of course, the older hymns, the traditional hymns, can't beat them. All right, when is that?
February the 18th.
February 18th. That's this week.
This Thursday.
This Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. Our trivia question for today. I'll ask the question now. You give it a little thought, and then at the end of the program, I'll give you the answer. That simple. Category for today's trivia question is explorers. Explorers. You ready? I might ask two questions. I don't know, because this first one right here, I already knew the answer to this one right here. See what you think about this. What is the name of the popular bilingual children's cartoon character explorer? Explorer. Bria's got it. What is the name of the popular bilingual children's cartoon character explorer? What's her name? I didn't mean to say her. I said her. That kind of gives it away, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Coming up on the 26th at the Peggy Seeger Senior Center on East Ash Street, there's going to be a big old dance party. The dances will be on the following Fridays. Well, it'll be on Friday the 26th from 6 until 8 p.m. Snacks will not be provided.
Oh, why not?
That's because it's free, and if you have music you'd like to dance to, feel free to bring your own to share. Bring your own music. Bring your own DVDs. I mean, a little Luther, a little, whatever.
We'll bring your own snacks.
Bring your own what?
Own snacks.
Bring your own snacks. What a great idea.
Yeah.
Come get your groove on. Get your groove on and boogie. Get your groove on. Anyway, it's a great opportunity to get moving while having fun with others. If you want more information, call Ms. Paula. Paula's number is 705-1785. That's the number.
That's right.
919-705-1785. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I had a birthday list here, Summers. Today's the 15th of the month of February. Here's having a birthday today, Ms. Jane Seymour. She's a Brit, but she's quite the, well, she is. She's from Great Britain. But she's quite the actress here. She does most of her work here. She is 65 today, and you know her from a lot of stuff. From a lot of stuff. Wasn't she? No, never mind. All right. Anyway, Christopher McDonald having a birthday. He's 61 today. Kelly Hensley. Kelly Hensley is an actress. She's 49 today. And Renee O'Connor, also an actress, turning 45 today. And there